Yo, yo, yo.
Yo,
What's going on, Dr.
Al,
Peterson?
Mega, how you doing, good brother? It's good to be on here with you.
Thank you for coming on. Hey, fam, thank you for joining us today. Obviously, I'm Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and the Cover Capes, and I'm joined by a fellow Comic Crusader, but he's so much more than that right now. He's a radio personality. He's doing his thing. He's a writer, which had one heck of an article that recently came out as well. You know, you just want to come on and just kind of discuss the current state of the situation. Respect Dr. J's opinion here, and this is just a nice opportunity just to flat out just chat. You use our Comic Crusaders channel and an avenue where it could be positive and just talk about what's going on and hopefully spread a little bit of awareness amongst our fellow community.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I appreciate the opportunity.
No, thank you for so first that article, man, in the Philadelphia Citizen. Wow, powerful, impactful, amazing, folks. I'll share the link. No worries. In a bit, but yeah, that was amazing. Where did that come from, man?
So, the Philadelphia Citizen brought me on board to write a column about racial disparities in COVID-19, right? Because I've been talking about a lot of my radio program and following and reporting on stuff. Like, hey, we want you to bring some of that here. So, as I was researching and like doing interviews for my first piece in that column, my executive editor hits me up and she's like, "Look, do you want to write anything about what's going on right now with the protests with George Floyd and all that?" And I'll be honest with you, brother. What my first response is kind of like, not really. It's like so heavy on me. It was very heavy on me. You know what I mean? You notice, bro. We're men of color in this world, and at our age, you and I have had experiences growing up that help us to understand that either you or I could have been George Floyd, right? Right. So that easily, right? And so it hits different, I think, if you've had that kind of experience, and that's just growing up inner city Northeast, of the interface between law enforcement and Black and brown men, all over this country, but particularly in those communities, is very contentious. And so the whole George Floyd thing was just whatever. The Breonna Taylor piece, also, my daughter's name is
That
Breonna.
was horrible. I mean, how do you expect someone breaking into your home to react?
Warrants,
Nothing.
no-knock warrants are crazy, bro. No-knock warrants.
What is that?
A no-knock warrant basically means law enforcement could just run up in your crib.
But that's bullshit. That should be illegal. I mean, somebody's knocking down on my door.
Right.
I'm gonna come at you. And you expect me? Are you gonna kill me for defending my home?
Yo. Yeah. Her boyfriend was charged with murder. He got off. They dropped the charge, but initially he was charged for attempted murder, just trying to defend. Listen, there was just so much going on, and so it was hard for me to process. And so I kept thinking about it, and what I wanted to do in the piece was I kind of just wanted to put my feelings out there in a way to help it connect the dots with everything that's going on. And I just felt like, our community is dying a slow death. And each one of these, big stories contributes to that over time, but they also contribute to our despair, our frustration. And so that's kind of, the piece is about how Black folks are dying a slow death in this country. They can kill us quick. Like they can shoot us 8 times while we're asleep, or they can run up on Tamir Rice and shoot him within 2 seconds. But those deaths are slow for the communities that have to memorialize people, for the communities that have to mourn, for the communities that have to try to repair themselves after all this state-sanctioned violence. So Ahmaud Arbery was hunted down. He was murdered quickly, but his death is slow for his family, for his mother, for his community. And
especially them in the court case, understanding not even the language used after the fact.
Right. It's just the whole, the piece is really just me trying to work through how I'm trying to process what we're seeing. And now that you've had 2 straight weeks almost of protests, a lot of protesters were out yesterday too, bro. A lot more. These protests don't seem to be going away. And
hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah, I hope so too, because
in a positive fashion.
Yeah. I'm talking about the protesters. You know, there's protesters, there's rioters, and there's looters.
And there's terrorists.
Right. Yeah, right. So I'm talking about the protesters, and I hope the protests continue.
Yes, I hope so too.
And what you're able to see is there's now hundreds of video across social media of police brutalizing American citizens. It's insane. We're out here protesting police brutality, and the protesters are being brutalized by police. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, you see white people take it serious, you know, when you're saying they push that white old man for no reason. They cracked this old man's head open.
Crazy.
I mean, that one officer looked like he made an attempt, but his partner was like, no. Like, what is that? Have a heart, man. Be human. That could be your dad's. You do that shit to my dad, I don't care who you are. I'm gonna give you a clothesline on that wrestling style.
You're supposed to be. Your charge is to protect and serve the community. You know, there's
got to serve them beatings.
There's got to be a way, if you're law enforcement in Buffalo, to stop marching like the stormtroopers for a minute and just safely escort this guy outside of your purview. But that's not what they just knock him over or keep walking. It doesn't make any sense. And that kind of video is changing how America thinks about law enforcement.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's sad, man. I mean, I'm grateful that social media is now available, so you can see that we're not lying. I had a rough youth in New York. You know, I'm not shy of sharing that. I was getting stopped every weekend going to work because my day job I had to start at 6 a.m. So I'm on the train at 5 a.m. I had cops harassing me daily, searching me. Up until the point before I even left New York, even when I was in Massachusetts, I got harassed once. You know, with shopping bags in my hand, asking me, "Do you belong here?" Like, really? you belong in that Woonsocket sign, which is where mostly the bigger minority community was. So I'm like, no, I live actually right here, bro. You know what I mean? No. You know, you need see my ID. Anything else I could help you with?
They've got to, you know, they either have to, when people are saying stuff like abolish the police, what they really mean is law enforcement as it's been constructed in the 20th and even the 21st century does not make sense for the world that we live in.
And my wife has a question. I don't know, maybe if you could help even answer this. My wife had brought up this question, like, who polices the police? And then I said, all right, what happened to internal affairs? I mean, that doesn't even work, right?
It doesn't, not effectively. You can't have police policing police right now because unfortunately there's too much bad practice. It's there, you know, the whole conceptualization of it is wrong because it's designed to like protect property or protect wealthy people.
It's a gang mentality.
You're right. Or to criminalize certain groups of people. Like that's just, there's no future in that. There's really no future in it. And we should be living in a world where the way that we would address crime in our society is we would address poverty. We would address education. Like if we focus on education and we focus on poverty, we're going to dramatically reduce crime.
Yeah.
But if we keep beefing up these police forces, that doesn't help. It doesn't address the root causes of what the challenges are.
Yeah, see, check this out. My wife has also showed me another video where they had a roundtable with minority police officers, right? And these police officers asked the question of why they, normally pick on the minority community, and they're basically trying to meet a quota because they claim that Latinos, blacks, even LGBTQ are just the weaker race that are just more susceptible to the harassment and easier to process. So hence why they do it. I mean, and these are coming from minority cops. Like this is their mindset to meet the quota.
Because the white community is not policed the way that we are.
Isn't that insane?
It is. It is. Yeah. And the reality is, again, if you really, the way that you address the challenges in our community is to stop looting our communities, number one, right? Stop looting our communities with your tax policy and with all the ways in which the real looters actually loot, right? Like the real corporations and the
professionals.
Professional looters, that's right. Stop looting our communities, redistribute some of the resources that you put into law enforcement, into our schools. When you look at the budgets, when you look at these city budgets, they're spending more on police than they are on schools. spending more on police than they are on making sure there aren't food deserts.
More on control than education, man. All about control.
You know, so I'm hoping that these protests will continue and that we'll be able to radically change the world that we live in.
But you know, with I'm gonna piss people off here. Obviously, with the ignorant ass president that we have, is that even possible? He keeps adding gasoline to the fire in his rhetoric. I mean, even socially, instead of being compassionate or even showing an ounce of empathy to the community, he's got to try to talk bullet points, and talk stuff like the silent majority. What are you talking about? Could you stop?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is a cancer on our body politic, and he needs to be voted out. But more importantly, we need to dispense with that kind of politics, like the politics of hate and division. It just doesn't make sense. Like, look at what we're facing in the world. We're facing climate challenges that impact everybody. We're facing a global pandemic that impacts everybody. We're facing economic inequality across the world that's going to impact everybody. We need global solutions. We need real leadership, and the politics of hate and division. And no matter where it is, whether that's in the world of comics or if that's in the academic world or in the media world or in politics, it's just, there's no place for it. We know that there are challenges that we have. This planet's going to burn up. You know what I mean? Like this planet,
eventually, right?
Yeah, there's gonna be environmental challenges that are gonna require us to work together. It's just like the pandemic is like a little precursor of everything that's in front of us. We have to work together
to learn from this.
The pandemic, and we should be learning from this. Like, oh, like something happens in China or something happens in Europe, right? That people get sick in Europe, they come over here, and then everyone is sick over here. Right. And then when we get sick over here, we travel to other countries, that is a microcosm of what our future challenges are going to be like. So our economic system is like that. If we don't start to think more about unity in our economic system, it's going to collapse. If we don't start to think more about the climate and the environment together globally, it's going to collapse. Right. So the big challenges ahead of us require, the kind of pandemic thinking that we should have. But our leadership right now is absolutely bereft of any capacity to address the real challenges in our country right now.
I mean, do you think there's anyone out there now that could try to help and speak out to, help them listen for a change? Do we have that type of leadership anywhere available right now? Anywhere, even up and coming that you've noticed?
So I feel like, and I don't know how deep you want to get into the whole political piece, but man, I feel like there are a few people who were in the democratic process who would be outstanding leaders for this moment. And unfortunately, none of them are the Democratic nominee. So if I don't know if you follow Julian Castro, but Julian Castro has solutions. He's forward thinking. He was way out front on the police piece. I don't know if people follow this closely. The kind of police policy reform that he was talking about during his campaign over a year ago. If people would have been paying attention to that, we would have avoided where we are right now. I like Elizabeth Warren as well. If you think about from a policy perspective, someone who has ideas on the policy side to address these big challenges that I'm talking about. Elizabeth Warren would be good. So Elizabeth Warren and Julian Castro, first of all, they would have been an extraordinary ticket. There are folks, Bernie Sanders, and again, I'm not a Bernie bro, but Bernie Sanders talking about Medicare for all. What else would you need in a global pandemic, right?
Yeah,
They were Democratic candidates, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Julian Castro, who were in the race, who had the ideas and the capacity to implement those ideas that we need for the future of this country, and they could not rise to the level of becoming the Democratic nominee. That says a lot about American politics. Now, for a lot of people, it's just about getting this guy out who's the president right now. And so for a lot of people, they felt like VP Joe Biden was the safest candidate to get this guy out. And I understand that for like, I understand like what, because people were like, man, these Trump people are everywhere. Yeah. I understand that. But man, we lost a lot not having Julian Castro.
You know what? And you're saying this. I have someone, commenting, Julian Castro, comic book poser shout out. He goes, Julian Castro was fired in debates, and then he forgot he needed to do press between the debates.
I mean, I think he also had financial challenges. They weren't able to raise enough money. And to me, I'll be honest with you, bro. If you look at the candidates of color, Castro, Booker, Harris, all with more charisma than the current nominee, all with more progressive policy.
Oh, definitely. See, I'm very familiar with Booker because I grew up in New York, and Jersey is our neighbor. So, yeah, I was definitely familiar with his
raise the money. Even Booker couldn't raise enough money to sustain a campaign. That doesn't make sense. To me, that means there's something structural in the Democratic Party that's problematic. But those folks had the best ideas. Medicare for all, criminal justice and police reform, the universal basic. Andrew Yang talking about universal basic income sounded crazy to some people, right?
Yep.
Exactly what we need right now. Exactly what we need right now.
And he's out there, talking about it on his socials.
He's going to pilot. He has enough money in his bank account. He's going to pilot it with, he's going to do a pilot program. But like that, those are the things: police reform, environment, universal basic income, Medicare for all the things that the Democratic candidates were talking about that didn't make it. That's all the stuff that we need to
we're seeing examples of it with a stupid little one-time payment. They're talking about another payment coming,
Bruh, this economy is in the toilet right now. 40 million struggling to reopen between the pandemic and the protests. This economy is not recovering, and even the jobs numbers that this president.
Yeah, he's talking these positive numbers. I'm like, what?
Are you kidding me? And even that information he was giving out was misinformation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if Twitter says that, he's gonna try and shut them down for having for fact checking them.
American politics is disgusting right now. American politics is a disgusting cesspool of misinformation, looting, and a lack of accountability.
I agree, man. It's not safe. No one feels happy nor safe. I mean, at least we don't feel safe. I mean, again, I grew up in New York, and I have one experience, but my daughter ended her high school life, if you will, up in Mass.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a totally outnumbered school where she was maybe one of two Latinos out of those hundreds of kids. So imagine her facing, they were trying to tell me this, but without being too direct, because they know I would have wilded out. But they were like, approaching like, in a very racial way, you like tacos, this, that. I'm like, I'm Puerto Rican. What are you talking about? Like they would, those ignorant.
Right. They can't even embrace this right. They can't even get their racism right, bro.
Yeah, it's like, it's like, God forbid I had gone to that school growing up, I would have been in jail. For murdering somebody. Like, really, this is how you're gonna approach me? I would have been on a fight every day, honestly. I mean, when I first dealt with it, and this is a true story.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 5 years old in kindergarten, little white boy trying to take all my toys in kindergarten because he thought he was better than me. Now we were at a table, and he's trying to take my stuff. We had those round edge scissors. I, without thinking, tried to stab him. Bro, let me tell you. That's beating terrible. I got that day, the beating.
That's right.
But that kid never bothered me again.
Never. That's the problem, is that bullies only respond to violence, man.
Man. I was so mad. What else could I do? You're taking my shit. I had this. I was just a kid. Like, get away from me, Wow.
You're still that little kid, bro. You are still that little kid.
Hey, man, I just gotta defend my own. I don't stand for that. It's bullshit. I don't like it. It's not right. I grew up feeling it, and my wife feels it. My kid feels it. My brothers feel it. My parents feel it. I mean, it's enough is enough. And that video with George, when I saw that, I was reduced to tears when I saw that shit. It's like, I am watching. What is this? Faces of Death? Why am I watching somebody die?
Right.
Like this.
Right. Die crying for the money. It's ridiculous. It's sick. And it's just the tip of the iceberg. And here's the problem, right? I don't even want to watch the video ever again. I wouldn't
Me neither. I don't want to see that ever again in my life.
But at the same time that I'm going to say that, I need for people to understand that video, that 8-minute and 40-second video, is what American policing looks like in our communities.
It does. It does. Imagine me. I mean, it wasn't just me. I had my friend, Ecuadorian kid, harmless kid. Dude, he was getting searched. You know, he was back in the day, you know, we didn't have no cell phone. They had to go to the payphone.
Right.
I don't know, payphone talking to his mommy. And cops are coming up, smashing his Walkman, pressing him up against the wall, broke his nose. And they're like, oh, we didn't find nothing. All right, you're good. And they just let him go. And then they're hiding their badge and we can't do nothing about it.
Right. Right.
You know, and we were kids too, so I ignorant. You know, why didn't they want to go up to mom and say this? Because our parents, you know, old school minded, what did you do wrong?
Right.
They're not going to really believe me.
Right.
You know, like, nah, but you must have done something. No, I didn't.
No, just breathing.
Yeah, I always call it walking while Latino, walking while black. They have a problem. Because let me tell you, again, I want to state this here because this is real talk. I have my boy Toast, black Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
We were in Queens one day. We just drove into Queens, and white cops escorted us out of Queens because when they asked us, they stopped us. Where you from? We said, oh, from Brooklyn. What are you doing here? We're going to go shopping. Get the fuck out of here. They escorted us out of Queens.
That's crazy.
We had to cross the Pulaski Bridge out.
That's crazy. And that's New York City.
Yeah. This was back in the day.
In the world. This is one of the most diverse places in the world.
Yeah. And I dealt with that shit, and that's real. I am not lying. Honest to God, man, may it rest in soul. He passed away. And we would always, me and him, if we were together, it's like, oh, a black and a Puerto Rican, they up to no good.
Right.
And we were getting stopped on the regular. He's like, he would look at me and say, what the fuck is it when we're together?
Yo, you two together, you know, for them, just spelled, you know, crime.
Unfortunately, back then, and it was crazy. And I mean, we do this. We were hard working. Yep. You know what I mean? Doing our thing. We had a jalopy. He had a jalopy ride, and we were just happy to have somebody with a ride so we could go someplace. You know, you know how it was back then growing up.
Trying to live, yes, just trying to live and be free as a young person. And you know, I came up in Newark, so we had some bad run-ins with cops, man. A lot. You know, stop and frisk has been around a lot longer than people think. Stop and frisk has been around a lot longer than people
absolutely. Up until before, listen, I moved to Mass 6 years ago, right? And but a year prior to that, I'm what, 36, 37? I got stopped and frisked while talking to my friend. But the cops, all four of them, rolled up on me, putting their hands in my pocket, talking about they're not searching me. So I come out, what, do you like touching men? You like me? He goes, you better not get fresh. You know, I'm like, what? But why are you searching me? I goes, I'm not searching you. So why are you touching me? You know, they didn't want to answer me. So my friend is smoking a cigarette. This guy smokes, you know, slaps a cigarette out of his mouth. You know, I'm like, what's going on here? You're harassing us for no reason. You know, I'm like, let me get your badge on, but they flip it. You know, so what I did, take a picture of their plate as they drove off. I reported it. Listen, sometimes the system does work. Sometimes, you know, this is my story here because I reported that to the CCRB, the Civilian Complaint Review Board of New York, right? Yeah. Me and my friend both went in. Because I told my boy, listen, I've had enough. This has been all my life. Let me see if this shit works. Yeah. I reported it. I spoke to investigators and all for a week, essentially, my boy and I. And then I had to move to Mass. You know, life changes. You know, I moved to Massachusetts and I started getting mail from the court system in New York and Mass about what's going on, keeping me updated. So, you know, into my second year, now 4 years ago, right? I got a letter stating that those cops got fired from their jobs because they were doing this to everybody in the Queensbridge, Ravenswood area. So they started getting, they had multiple cases from every minority. Wow. So finally justice, and they all got fired. That letter, I have it. I got to, if I find it, I'll post it. I swear, because to see that the system sometimes does work. So they lost their job, no pension, no nothing.
That up. That's the archive. First of all, we need those kind of boards all over.
Yes, we do. And for them to take actual action and stay insistent and persistent.
That's dope.
On those issues, you know, we could win, you know, to show people that this is a bad person. Now all cops are fucked up. I have friends that are cops. They're not bad people. They're not. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, the highlight is always amongst the bad ones. You know what I mean?
They're not.
You know, so I have friends that are good and they feel ashamed by what happens, you know, embarrassed. I'm sure.
But the thing is, it's not about these individual cops. It's about the system,
The
the
system
structures, how
itself,
they all
absolutely.
of that.
It's got to change. You know, like example, like what that video my wife showed me with the minorities speaking about how, you know, they target us because, again, we're the most susceptible and easier to meet those quotas. There goes Dr. J. You should be able to come back.
We're having some connection issues.
No, you're fine. I hear you now. Hey, you're back, brother.
Okay.
All right, but
Yeah.
you know, who should they talk to? Because I saw a conversation also on social where
Mhm.
you know, a protest was talking to a cop, asking the cop is like, you know, we want systemic change, this, that, and you know, and this is a statement from a cop where they kind of say, well, we complain to, you know, who we have to complain to, our chiefs, but if it doesn't progress from there, what can we do? You know what I mean? So, you know, where does it really start, man? When we want to look at that, what do we have to look into for real change, James? At the end of the day, you know, what's the core of it? You know,
Yeah.
is it a particular person? Is it a particular soul, or you know, what within the system? What is it that you know?
Yeah.
What makes people wake up to say, listen, Coño, wake up. This is what's happening. This is wrong.
Yeah. In the world that we live in, the way that you do that, you got to defund and demilitarize the police. I mean, before we get to abolishing and radically change, all first step, defund. And here's the thing: I don't want just a random defunding of the police. I want to defund the police and redirect the resources for these huge municipal police budgets into the education system. So that way, while you're defunding police, you're addressing one of the root causes of crime, which is poor education, right? So defund, and then the demilitarization has to happen immediately. No more sweetheart, no bid contracts on U.S. military gear for the police. We do not need police looking like stormtroopers in our communities.
Yeah,
we do not need military grade gear and vehicles in the streets of our communities. So those that to me is what, because once you defund them, you get those budgets under control. And by the way, defunding is not just, it's not about necessarily paying cops less. It's about reducing their budgets around militarization, reducing their budgets, and really erasing the fact that when they get sued, like those cops who you contributed to them getting knocked off the force, they probably had a lot of lawsuits against them, right? Do you know who paid those lawsuits? We
did. Okay, of course we do.
We got to defund that. Well, the lawsuits have to come directly from the police union and the police budget, and the budget has to be, you know, and I think they should develop an algorithm or a rubric, right? You know, because again, you look at some of these cities, 50-60% of the budget, law enforcement. We got to redirect those to education directly. Stop paying out their lawsuits. That's got to come from them, and demilitarize them. I think that's going to make policing a lot healthier. And for all the people who say, well, how do we what about all this crime, all that? Yo, look at the data on policing. Like, look at their clearance rates for homicides. Some of these cities are at 30% clearance rates for homicides with billion-dollar budgets. It's not working. Right? It's not working.
Exactly.
So I think the first structural step is defund and reappropriate those resources into the community exactly where it will help systematically address crime in other ways. That's around poverty and education. It's about priorities, bro. We're more interested in locking people up or making sure people can eat. We're more interested in locking people up or making sure people can read. How are we going to spend our tax dollars? We spend a lot of tax dollars on military. You know how it's very common in Democratic and progressive circles to critique how much money America spends on its military budget, right? Like, we spend more than the top 7 countries around the world combined on our military budget, right? Bruh, our budget for policing is set up the exact same way. It's set up the exact same way. So we got to defund.
Someone says here, common proposal against goes, my students and I did a bunch of research on Executive Order 10333, and that shit is wild. Are you familiar with that executive order?
Which executive order? Is it one of Trump's executive orders?
You know what? Let's go ahead and look it up. We're live.
10.
Executive Order 1033. Oh, that's Harry Truman's executive order. Whereas, in my judgment, the public interest requires that Bernice Pike Collective Customs headquarters. It is ordered that said compulsory what? Executive Order 10. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yeah, I'm looking at it too. Does the caller? I mean, does the person ask the question? They have the right executive order?
Yeah, man. That's a surplus military equipment to police. Yeah, well, we'll find it. So, comic post, I think that's the wrong exec order. So, if you find the right one, we'll go ahead and look it up because we're live.
Yeah,
we'll do it and blast it.
That's not the right one, but that one's about retirement. That's not about. But yes, they're. Listen, they are. It is legal for law enforcement departments to acquire military grade weaponry and equipment.
Why? I mean,
why?
That's what you got the National Guard for if it gets to that level.
Right. You know, so defund, demilitarize police. Again,
I agree.
There are ways to do it that can be smart about crime if that's what you're really concerned about.
James, this isn't your life experience. This is talking about you. This is talking about our personal life experience. You know what I mean? Have you been through any issues with you know, the law where they kind of just harass the shit out of you just for being you?
Yeah, I have. And so I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, at a time where the crime rates in Newark were so high that they had New Jersey state troopers policing the city of Newark. Now, if you've ever had an encounter with a New Jersey state trooper,
Jesus Christ,
you can realize what it must have been like to have them policing the city of Newark, New Jersey. And that was at a time where I just got a license, where I was trying to hang out with friends and all that. So I've been stopped countless times, thrown up against walls, frisked for no reason, detained for no reason, cursed at, and all types of things. But I think the reason why I'm alive is because my parents early on had to talk with me like, yo, you're a tall, black guy in the city of Newark. This is what happens. And you got to conduct yourself in a way that is about staying alive. Forget about what you think your rights are. You got to stay alive. And man, it was just, I was so young at a time. And when you have, again, just imagine state troopers policing your city. So it's a lot of police harassment and a lot of police confrontation and run-ins. Thankfully, nothing ended up really, really crazy, but it just conditioned me to interact with the police in a very passive way, bro.
Understood, exactly. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Very passive way.
And so here, Comic Book said, oops, it's 1033 program from under Obama. I'm going to go ahead and share it, in our chat over here so you can take a look at it. He shared the link that comes from Wiki. It goes, it started under Clinton during his 96 crime bill era, and then Obama limited some of it, and then Trump, of course, rolled it back.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this bad boy real quick.
This is exactly what the problem is.
Oh, damn.
This is it right here.
Insane.
By the way, it's been going on for decades. This has been going on for decades.
And folks, so you know what we're looking at, thank you, Comic Book Poser, for bringing this up. It's the 1033 program. Go, take a look at your wiki for a moment. This is exactly what James was just talking about. Insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, man. What is wrong with government to think on this level? How they do not trust its citizens?
Right. This is why you're seeing flash grenades, tear gas, all this stuff in our communities now.
Rubber bullets. My wife showed me some girl that got shot in the forehead with a rubber bullet. I mean, thank God it didn't kill her, but that was like,
Rubber bullets are not made out of rubber, bro. Okay.
Yeah. not for anyone. That shit hurts.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I play paintball, and I'm pretty sure it feels way worse than that.
Way worse than that. And there are a lot of videos and images on social media right now of protesters who've been shot with rubber bullets. A couple of people have lost their eyes. I've seen at least 2
Eyes? Oh,
their
God.
eyes shot with rubber bullets, or so much damage was done to their eye from the rubber bullet that they're blind in one eye.
This is
That's
why
right now.
I've shared a video how the Japanese protests, our brothers out there in Japan or in Hong Kong, rather,
Yeah.
with the goggles, the saran wrap, the cones. They're like trying to teach us, like, yo, protect yourself. This is what you need. I shared that video. I was like, I'm not trying to promote this, but rather like, yo, if you're gonna do this, be safe from those acts, man, because I don't want you getting hurt at the end of the day. I mean, we all really are fighting for something that's really important. This abuse gotta end. We've all been. I mean, many of us been the victims. I mean, we have members within our team in Comic Crusaders that say, "Well, I've never really been in that position, so I can't relate because they never been picked on like that, and that's okay. That's okay. But I want you to understand we have. So if you feel bad for us, imagine how really bad one of us is growing up. Like, God damn.
And really, I just want people who are just realizing what policing looks like in our communities. I just want them to understand that that's part of what your privilege is. Part of your privilege is that you haven't even had to think about any of this. You've never seen any of this. You and I are talking about stuff. We grew up with this.
Yes, for us, and we grew up in melting pot cities that have diversity.
Yeah.
And then my daughter faced it in a city that had no diversity.
Right. Doesn't matter where you are, we get policed differently, bro.
It's like, what in the fuck? I mean, again, it's insane. Stop.
Yeah, but if you're like surprised by what you're seeing, if you're surprised by what you're seeing, or you like never thought about police this way, that is privilege. That's a privilege. You never had to think about the police as someone who would target you or harass you. That is privilege to never have to think about police killing you or choking you to death. We've been fighting against chokeholds for decades, Mega.
Dude.
You tell me we've been fighting against chokeholds for decades.
All right. One day I'm sitting in the car with my friends. It's cold. It's November.
Mm-hmm.
My boy says, "Yo, our car is right. The car's right there. Let's get in the car." I told him the car, turn on the heat. We chill. So they're going upstairs. So we push it in the car. And next thing you know, one of our friends comes in. And he says, "Yo, can I get in?" All right. He comes in. 2 minutes later, somebody's knocking on the window, and my boy Toast looks. It's a cop with a gun out. So we're like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Yo, what's up?" So they get the fuck out the car. I'm like, "Guys, open the door, open the door, open the door. Let's not, let's take it easy, I was trying to be the voice of reason here.
Yeah.
So they open the door. My boy Toast is mad. I'm like, "Toast, just get the fuck out the car." He's like, "Nah, bro, what the fuck? Why is this always happening to us?" So I'm like, "Yo, just chill. Just listen to them." So they dragged him out the car. They throw me and him on the floor. And because I'm trying to like, "Yo, what happened? What's going on?" They kicked me in the ribs several times. I still have a boot mark. I swear to God, on my skin over here. Wow. My boy Toast too. They stepped on our backs, and this happened in front of my building growing up. My little brother, he was about 6 years old at the time, is looking at the window, and all I hear him say, "Oh my God, Alex!" He started calling my screaming, talking to my mom. They running downstairs. What's going on? My boy, one of my boys happened to leave just for a moment. And he missed all this. He comes back to see us on the ground. 3 of my boys getting arrested. Me and him getting kicked. My mom is trying to find out what's going on. A cop attempts to push her.
Wow.
My boy steps in. Hey, what the hell's going on here, So it could be because me, I'm out and off for me and my boy next to me.
Right.
Then arresting us. They're telling us just to shut the fuck up. They arrested my boy. So apparently one of my friends, the last one that came in, tried to do something stupid, but they blamed all of us. But they abused us. So that me and him go because they kicked us and abused us. They didn't want me to get their badge number again. Once again, hiding it anytime I asked for that shit. It was, it was insane. I'm a kid. That I was what, young man when this shit happened. Again, in front of my parents for the first time. And then she looks at me because I never told my mom this shit. I said, "Ma, I go through this fucking weekly. Like, you know, this is on a bigger scale that you saw it right now. You saw it on a bigger scale right now, but I really do go this through weekly. I'm like, she's like, why? I'm like, because I'm not doing nothing. It's because how I look. She goes, it can't be. Yes, it is, yo.
It is. It is. We have been profiled our whole lives, bro. And we're tired of it. That's the thing, too. Like, there's a certain level of exhaustion at this point. Like, man, how much more of this are we supposed to take? That's why enough is enough. It's like, there's a lot of people of color who are already there. Like, yo, we can't stomach anymore.
People have lost their lives. People of color lost their lives for being profiled.
Yeah.
Stop it. You know, that, you know, Brianna, you know what I mean, Aubrey. I mean, my man, come on, yo. And this, my man's just jogging, yo. You're gonna fucking shoot him for jogging in your hood? How fucking stupid are you?
Sick.
And then is it stand over him and use the words you fucking did after you kill him, you motherfucker? Sick. I'm sorry, yo. Sorry for the language, but it's just so, you know what I mean? It's like,
your language, the act.
You want to do something.
The act was profane. The act was profane. All right, they hunted this brother down and shot him like a dog. That's
crazy, bro. Shit is crazy. I'm sorry. Shit gets me. That shit gets me fucking heated, bro. Sick, bro. You know, this abuse that we've gone through all our lives for real is just enough, man. Seriously, I don't want to deal with this shit no more. It's fucking enough.
I want our kids to be able to live free. Can our kids live free in this society, please?
That's all. Look at my daughter. She's suffering in fucking high school. Thank God we moved to Florida and she found a diverse college that openly accepted her from almost day one, bro. You know what I mean? How awesome that is, you know? You know, finally being, you know, amongst the right people. This is crazy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, we listen. That's why I support the protesters out there in the streets right now. That's why I was out there.
My wife is dying to go. You know what I mean? We're trying to find the right opportunity because, you know, I'm either working or, you know, I'm trying to do this just to help spread word or do something.
That's right.
You know, I want to talk to people like you, which, you know, I trust you, brother. You have that wonderful book talking about the jail system.
You've been for a long time, bro.
Exactly, bro. People, you don't know. Dr. J, man, he been around fighting the fight and sharing knowledge, trying to school people. So please look into this, man. He's doing some really great work. I mean, check out his show on the WRD, or rather wordradio.com. I mean, he does his show at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's called Tonight on Word. So, you know, talk about that. I mean, a little bit about your show, man. I mean,
the show's a talk radio show, and it's a news show. And so every night I get on there, I talk about the news, what's topical, especially for our community. And then I take calls. You know, try to take calls every night. People can call in from anywhere. You can post comments in the Facebook feed. I try to answer all the questions. And I try to be as fact-based and as informative as possible. So my job every night when I get on there is to tell the truth and to present information that improves our community. And that's
great, man.
Community. That's our national community. That's anybody who's listening.
No, I peeped the show, man. It definitely isn't foreign if you're talking some truth and you're sharing knowledge, and it's all positive talk, and in a very educated fashion, which is what I really do appreciate. You know what I mean? You know, you're talking with brain power, not just heart power. It's a combination of both, but you're using this right here a little bit more. Just to, you know, let's get educated, people. Let's get, you know, if we're gonna fight the fight. We got to play their game the right way. This is like motherfucking chess.
Yes. Yeah. And we've been playing it for a long time, and we still got a long way to go.
Yeah, man. But it's time to fucking checkmate everybody. We're done.
We got to at least checkmate the racism.
Checkmate systemic racism. That's what we got to checkmate right now. Like, checkmate the shit out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. For real. You know, it's funny. I'm seeing all these statements from all these companies over the last week or so. You know, they're going to put up this amount of money. They're committed to this.
They should have been doing that.
Bro, They should have been doing it, but also we got to hold them accountable because a lot of people they saying a lot of stuff right now. We got to hold them accountable.
It's called marketing.
To hold them accountable.
That's what I do is marketing, but they don't understand. See, we come from that experience. I know. Believe you me, I fucking know. So we come from that, and a lot of these companies don't even come from that. Yeah, thank you for showing us support. That's so nice, but there's something should have been listening to us from a long time. This has been going on since long time. I mean, we're repeating. Oh, right now the process look as powerful they used to look back in the '60s. But I hope there's actually change, because I mean, shit, that's how many years ago? You know what I mean? And nothing's really changed.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I mean, I hope there's real change. God bless this generation, and I hope you guys could really bring change, man. Please, yo, bring that energy. If you truly about that, please help. We've tried, but not many on our side because, they also grew up with that little bit of hate. So we grew up, within our own age generation. There's rightfully a whole bunch of assholes, but hopefully, I'm talking truth. There's just a bunch of assholes out there. But hopefully within our kids, within that group, those assholes are just more weeded out now. Yeah. And they can see what's really going on.
That's right. They expose them more readily. And so, yeah, we do need younger people to step up and continue doing all the great things they've been doing, man. They definitely are out here in these streets right now, and we need that energy.
Yeah, keep doing it, kids. You're doing the right thing. We want to be out there. We believe in you. We want this. We've been victimized enough. We're victims of it ourselves.
Yep.
Thankfully, by the grace of God, they weren't. At least that trigger happy in the '90s.
Well, they were. We just were.
They were, but we got away from it. They were nicer cops, I guess. That is trigger happy. Thank God. Because I had someone tell me, James, honest to God, I had an older gentleman tell me one time, he's like, I didn't think you're going to live past 25 because of your mouth. Because I was always mouthing off the cops when shit happened. It's like, I'm not standing still. Like, why are you checking me? Why this? Why that? I was trying to be that asshole. Like, I know my shit. Don't fuck with me. Why you fucking with me? Tell me why right now. That's why I only got, to be honest, I only got arrested once in my life. And that was some other stupid shit. Something that's even legal now. That's why. They were just trying to scare me.
Show me your bad stuff.
That's all that was about,
Al, well, you and I are of the generation where men, especially who look like us, were, if we lived past 25, it was a big deal.
It was the Now era. Absolutely, it was. It was a very tough era. It really was. It's crazy shit was going on in the street then. There was gangs. That to be again, a real talk. I was a part of a crew of something. You know what I mean? But when I met my queen, I figured out a master plan to get out of it. Yeah, man.
And bro, these are not gangs. They were straight up drug cartels.
You know what it was. Yeah, you know what it was.
Drug cartels. You can call it gangs if you want to, but in the late 80s, 90s, early 90s.
Yeah, you know what it was.
Up
yeah. All right. I'm not gonna bullshit. You know what it was, but I was able to get out in a safe fashion, and that's what the grace of God, and I'm living. I'm happy. I'm alive. I'm doing a good day job. I'm trying to bring positivity in the world. I have great people in my life. Like my wife, my kid, great friends like yourself. You know what I mean? That are empowering folks out there fighting the fight. In every fashion that you can, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So we're here, right?
Absolutely.
That's what matters. See, folks, right here at the bottom. You see that scrolling? That's the article you need to read right now. That's the James article right there, which is amazing. So you guys need to really
see it scrolling through.
Yeah, it's been scrolling the whole time. Yeah. So, any last thoughts here? Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I got emotional for a moment. I had it's really upsetting because I've been through it, and just to see the pain continue to happen. Yeah, I have, my uncles in PR. You see, like, it's funny how my family split up, but I know I have Spaniard, Black, Taino. We have Indian looking blood, black blood, Spaniard because of, eye look and skin too, but we're so mixed, and I appreciate all culture. And to see this hate just bothers me so much. And I don't like to use my Comic Crusaders as a political platform, but like I told people, this isn't about political right now.
No.
This is about basic human life and just rights to live. Why should anyone be victimized because of how they look? I mean, it's enough, man.
Yep.
Stop the bullshit already. You love all these comics with so much diversity, and yet when you see it in real life, you want to be a dick about it. Like, fuck off. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to give these guys any more airtime than they already get, because I think their whole mission is just to like troll the world of comics. But here's the thing, man. Comics have always been political, bruh. Always. Now, Comic Crusader has a stance that says, hey, we're not getting into every little political debate because this is about the comics themselves. I write about comics that are political, so we have it on our site, but we're not getting engaged in these little stupid things, because here's the thing. There are trolls out there, and unfortunately in our world and in worlds that are a little bit nerdier, there's more trolls. Yeah. And so in order for us in order for Comic Crusaders to be a platform about the work and about the comics, we just can't get engaged. We can't fight the trolls all the time, because then you're just gonna be fighting trolls.
Yeah, and it's not worth
it. That's no fun. So,
but
here's the thing. I do hope that what is happening right now is going to challenge comic book publishers, Marvel Entertainment, DC, challenge them all to stand their ground on being inclusive and to push it further, man. They can do better, man. There needs to be more Latinx, more Black, more women, more Asian, more people of color throughout all of these organizations, in executive positions, in editorial positions. And I hope they look at this moment, instead of giving the lip service or your Black Lives Matter or your blackout on Instagram. Nobody wants, just show us what you're gonna do, bro. Show us what you're gonna do.
Show up.
Yes, that's it.
Simple. Listen, actions speak louder than words, and this is what's truth. For me, that's always been truth. When I said I was going to do a VersaCon, everybody's talking about, oh, how do you get a VersaCon? Hey, how do you do a VersaCon? Guess what? This is how you fucking do a VersaCon. I set it up in a week. You know what I mean? Stop talking, start doing. You know what I mean? If you want to support the community, you start doing. Just stop talking. Don't ask questions. You care? Fucking do. Just fucking do. Yep. Me, the Comic Crusader supports everything. Look at our website. We cover every type of book. We indie stand side by side with any big two premier book, period. Yep. You know what I mean? No matter from what type of grade. It could be black, white, gay. I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's all about your creative content. That's what I care about. That's all we care about. It's about the comic book culture. You know what I mean? Be productive. Be awesome. Be you. We don't care about anything else, man. Quality, man. That's it. That's it, yo. We don't care where you come from. Why should that be so important? But we love you for doing it, though, and absolutely, we cheers you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, but what do you think? No, I mean,
look, bro, I gotta get ready to get dinner together for my family, man.
All right, so let's do this, folks. Thank you for joining us today. Now, it's 96.1 FM in Philly, or 900 AM, right? Or folks can go to wrdradio.com. Now, your show is from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Is that every day, or what's your schedule?
It's every day, Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
There you go. So it's called Tonight and Word. Check out my brother James Patterson. You want to get educated. You want to hear some real talk from the heart about the community. That's the man to check out. Weepa! And he's also a Comic Crusaders, a writer. So make sure to come on Comic Crusaders. Check out Dr. J's stuff. Yeah. Awesome reviews, man, that have actually been quoted in many places. A good job. So with that, I'm out, Mega. James Patterson, Black Lives Matter. We're here to support the community, man. Let's get it done. Whoop! All right.
Yeah. Yes.
Thanks everybody for joining us
brother.
today.
Appreciate you, Omega. I really do.
No, thank you, bro. And with that, everybody, thanks for watching today, and we'll be back next week for something new.